Hello everybody, my name is Mathis and welcome to a special video. About 3 years ago, almost to the day, we're a couple months off, I did a video titled Reacting to My Old Videos. And people really liked it, but I also said I didn't want to do another one for a few years yet, to kind of go back and look at some of the videos that I've done before. And I was actually rewatching that video and I figured it would be a really good time to kind of go back and take a look at some of the older videos that I've done, from a few from the Mathis StarCraft channel and then others from the Mathis Games channel. And last time we more or less looked at videos, and I'll leave a link in the description below, but more or less we looked at videos from the very beginnings of my channel, stuff within the first year or two, and that's it. And contrary to popular belief, like most YouTubers, even back then, even more so now, you really can't get a foot up in this game for at least 3 or 4 years unless you get very lucky. So the first year or two, I was very different. I was a different person back then. My life was different. Obviously, you know, we're looking at a massive age difference of almost 5 or 6 years now at this point, as well as just my level of comfort doing this type of thing, doing not only just Let's Plays, but now doing podcasts and live Twitch TV shows and all kinds of different things. So this time I picked a few videos from the era where I could see myself starting to get comfortable, see myself starting to find a voice, because again, if you go listen to my older videos, I didn't really have a speaking voice. I had a voice that was very clearly way more quiet, way more relaxed, and much more or less defined than it is now. And it makes for way more boring videos, things that I don't even know if I'd put on to go to sleep, and just generally not enjoyable videos to watch, except for when doing it like this. So, hopefully my camera's moved to the corner now if I remember to edit correctly. But now we're going to take a look at stuff starting from 2012 and then working our way up to 2013-ish, I believe. I'll double check as we go. And the very first thing I want to look at here is the Mathis Games, the first full-on Let's Play of Project Zomboid. Last time I looked at the first kind of video I ever did on Project Zomboid, which was just me talking about why I enjoyed it. But this is my first time properly doing like a Let's Play of any sort. You have to remember, before this, I was doing StarCraft 2 casts. That's all I was doing. And going into a full series type thing, I wanted to kind of hit the ground running, though you can clearly see I was very inexperienced. The way the episodes I have set up, they all have introductions. So let's actually start. And before we start, the process here, you can see my enjoyment of these types of games, even way back in 2012, was to bring you in and immerse you in this world, to present what I'm doing like a show where I am making decisions and an entire story is playing out. And that's why I like sandbox games and strategy games, because how I play will be an entirely different show and entertainment value than the way you might play the game. And the way we both play, we can tell stories of what happened. So that's the kind of, you have to understand, that's the thought process here when I created introductions to these series. So that's why you see this like weird screenshot and text and soon music. So let's just play the video and I'll talk about it. All right, let's go. I'm going to like this. This will go up on Twitter tonight. Everybody can see that I liked it. Okay, here we go. You can actually hear me clicking the button there. And you can hear my microphone running in the background. I didn't know how to cut the microphone. You can hear white noise. So you use Mathis Games, Project Zomboid. Or Mathis Plays Project Zomboid. This is on the Mathis StarCraft channel. Way too long. Way too long.
Hey there, everybody.
So that was way too long. I left the intro going 15 seconds. A good rule of thumb, if you do for the most part, if you're doing a show on YouTube, 5 seconds is great. 10 seconds is barely too much. You don't really want to go beyond 10 seconds. A 15-second intro is, and especially one that isn't doing anything other than playing music and having a title screen, is not a smart move. Let's continue.
It's finally time. You
Is it
asked
finally
for
time?
a proper Let's Play of Project Zomboid, and I'm going to give it to you. Now, you originally, or should I say, I originally said that I was going to wait until the official release of 0.2.0.
Yes, I did say
now,
that.
there are still some bugs to work out, but I feel the majority of the game is in, primarily because there's a big secret that's been added.
I'm not
hopefully we can discover what that
to
is
my
together.
dead channel.
And they've implemented the save feature, meaning I don't have to set aside 4, 5, 6 hours.
Cool. So I'm just talking about the game in that it's in a playable state. This was exciting for me because, oh god, my only experience with Zomboid at the time had only just been a dabbling here and there and playing it, but there was no like save feature, and the game was very, 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 very early in its alpha. If you think Project Zomboid is incomplete now, playing it back in 2012 was a different beast altogether. You can see elements of the game now here on this screen with the character creator and all that stuff. For the most part, it's not, you know, for the most part, it's a drastically different game. Let's skip ahead in the video to when we actually just make our character
load up, obviously, to generate.
Oh, you can see Fraps in the corner.
It's much faster than it used to.
Oh, because I think the game was loading.
I did toy around with a little bit, but
and this was an early version. Oh, yep, there's the game.
Let's we're immediately in a house.
Good observation. We're immediately in a house. See, the thing, this is gonna, I hesitate to continually pause because I do the same thing now. I just do it differently, or I try to make it stupid or childish humor. But a lot of the early trappings of Let's Players, including myself, and I still fall on this crutch, but you really shouldn't, is the pointing out the obvious, right? As a Let's Player specifically, pointing out the obvious is a horrible, horrible thing, because people aren't there to watch somebody give a play-by-play on what they're doing while they play their game. They're there to watch the game, but if they're watching a Let's Player, like, if they didn't want to watch a Let's Player, they could find the game with no commentary almost too easily on YouTube. If they're watching a Let's Player, they're looking for somebody to fit their cup of tea. It doesn't have to be an out-of-control, wildly, you know, screamy type of person, but they also don't need somebody leaning into the microphone and saying, I'm in a house. Let's walk into this room. The thing I learned and developed when playing Zomboid over the years is less talking about the immediate and more talking about my plans. And I found that was fun because talking about what my plans are in the future, as well as making some observations about why I'm doing what I'm doing and less about me just doing what I'm doing, is because it opened up some interesting story elements. I could say something along the lines in Project Zomboid like, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to get a big house, and my plan is to have a big house with a big yard, farms, and a big fence around it. And now the viewer, as well as myself, have a goal in mind. Something that maybe 10 or 20 episodes from now we can start seeing come to fruition. However, when you give vague plans like that, you leave a ton of room for things to go wrong, which is what I want to do. I want to leave room for things to go wrong because that's where the fun story bits are going. I'm not saying that I'm going out there and letting things go wrong on purpose. I'm always trying to play as best as I possibly can, given my skill set. But if things go wrong, it makes it more interesting. And that's where at least for this style of game, my thought process goes. I like to give an idea of what I want to do, try and do it, give the explanations to why maybe I'm doing what I'm doing, but avoid the whole, I'm walking into a room and I'm doing this and now let's go up the stairs. If I'm going to say something like, let's go up the stairs, I now say it like, let's go up the stairs, see if anything's in the hallway, knock on the first door to cause noise, and then listen for zombies. Give more than that. And then, you know, I say that, and then I'll just talk about my day, or I'll talk about something I find entertaining. That's the hardest thing as a Let's Player. I'm sorry to go on a fucking rant about it, but that's one of the hardest things as a Let's Player because it's not natural. It's not a natural thing until you force yourself to do it for 6 months, a year, or more, depending on who you are, and then it automatically becomes natural. But you won't notice it. You won't notice it happen until it's already happened.
Things first. Raid the cupboards, raid the fridge, for everything you can.
Now, why? Like, even if the viewer might know why, giving your reason as to why you're doing it is important. Now I'm dead silent. I'm not even talking.
So you can use pens and pencils and butter knives and everything as weapons. It's a one-hit, one-kill type of weapon.
God, I missed this version of Zomboid, though.
And the reason for that is imagine you're jamming the pen
so
through the eye of the zombie and hitting the brain. Straight up, just smack in the brain. That's the idea behind it.
God, I sound
problem
so
is
bored.
The range is incredibly short, and it's very hard to use. Now, I also just filled up my water bottle. You click your water bottle and click on a faucet.
I also have to keep in mind, too, this game was still new, and it wasn't... Nobody had really heard of it yet, and me explaining what I'm doing outside of saying I'm in a house is also kind of important because people might not know what I'm doing. Granted, now 5 or 6 years later, people know Zomboid, especially people who really like the game. They know what I'm doing, but that's beside the point. So I sound really bored, and that's kind of the running theme with my early videos. And my biggest critique of myself is that I am so dull, and I just don't seem to care. But it wasn't that I didn't care, it's that I felt embarrassed. I was doing this in my mother's basement. I didn't want my mom to hear me. I didn't want to be interrupted. I was scared. It was weird talking to myself in a room all alone with just nothing but my cats listening to me. I didn't have a concept of an audience at that point. And, you know, Zomboid, for, you know, what it's worth, is the game that let me find that voice and let me have an audience, and I'll be forever grateful. Let's scroll down a little bit and pick maybe one more. Let's go to the last episode. All good things. So we heard my voice a little bit here.
Bathtub or toilet and stuff like that.
24 episodes. Let's see if I sound any more excited. Still doing the... Jesus Christ. YouTube was a wild place back in 2012. Good God. My channel has moved. Season 2 has begun on that channel. So this is... I went to the Mathis Games channel. Cool. Look at all this. You used to have to do this by hand, man. And when and where to do it was so hard to figure out. Beginning of the video. Usually you don't want to do this in the beginning of the video. You don't want people clicking off of this video right when they turn it on. The subscribe button, sure. Previous, if they missed it, that makes sense. Zomboid 1, sure, if they want to start the series. But another series? No, you don't want to do that. So let's skip ahead. All Good Things is what this episode is called, because all the good things come to an end. Genius naming. This stupid intro is so bad. Right. I basically had done everything I wanted to do, and I was getting cocky, and I was trying to clear out a huge horde of zombies. That's what's going on here. That's why this is a massacre going on here. I had sectioned off. This is how good I was at this version of Zomboid, and I could probably still do it now if it existed. I had sectioned off an entire corner of town. I had like 6 or 9 houses that were walled, completely walled, some of them boarded, clean out completely. This is before zombies could respawn, and I was building the wall from end to end, and the noise had attracted a huge horde at this point. I had been constructing things for weeks in game, and zombies had eventually found their way here.
More is to come. Keep that in mind. Once 2.0 officially comes
I already
out,
sound more excited.
I will be playing it again.
That was me walking through an open window, by the way. There was no animations for it.
I promise it's going to be awesome.
But I have this whole cul-de-sac
all those food stores went to waste, but that's what happens. The stare bug will not be existing in this game, so let's go. Come on.
Oh, I was ending it purposefully. I was done because 2.0 was coming out for Zomboid, and I wanted to get into the new game. So everything I had accomplished.
Let's call the zombies this way.
I was done. I basically was unkillable. I was unkillable.
I'm gonna kill so many of you.
So you can see I have this whole cul-de-sac, this whole little neighborhood.
I should have went out to the horde, not to the stairs.
Completely.
I should have went out to the horde and
safe.
nothing else.
Not something you can do very easily anymore.
The right way.
There was something immensely satisfying about murdering a horde of zombies with a shotgun, man. And again, I didn't need to wall off these bushes because they couldn't walk through bushes back then. And I had a wall all the way down south as well. You can see the beginning.
All right, everybody, let's do this. Come on. Come on. Oh, come on. Dinner is served.
Here they all come.
Yeah.
I sound a little more excited.
You all deserve...
So, I sound better. I'm clearly a little more confident after 24 episodes, and you'll notice you actually get better very, very quickly. And then as the years go on, first you'll notice like, hey, I sound different from 2 months ago to now. Then you'll be looking back at a year and be like, wow, I sound way different than I did a year ago. And then 3 years will pass and be like, wow, I sound even more different than I did before. You are always evolving, and even I look back at videos from 2 years ago now, I bet you I sound a little different. So, I was finding myself here. In the next video we're going to go to is Amnesia Episode 1. And there's a reason I want to go to this. This is a lesson I learned very early on, and I think a lot of Let's Players fall into this trap. It's the idea of being somebody you're not. You see successful YouTubers, and you want to be them. This is something that, this is before Zomboid started finding my voice, okay? This is back in 2011. I wanted you to hear how I sounded in 2012 when I started to accept that I'm just going to be myself and let myself find my voice. Because in 2011, when I first started to dabble in Let's Playing, just a tiny bit, I wasn't me. I was trying to be the funny YouTubers that were popular at the time. Markiplier wasn't really a thing yet. PewDiePie was, and Tobuscus surprisingly was. And I was very much trying to emulate the two of them to the point of embarrassment, but we're going to listen, and you're going to realize, don't do it. Don't emulate anybody, because why go to a second-rate Markiplier or PewDiePie when they could just go to the source? But I wanted to be them, so what did I do? Amnesia, and I tried to be funny. Here's the thing I've learned about me as a person. I'm not, nor will I ever be, as witty or funny as someone like Northern Lion or Markiplier or any of those people. That's just not who I am as a person. I find my strengths. I'm a little long-winded, but I try to be a positive guy. Granted, the fuck Mathis meme is a thing, but for the most part, I try to be a fun guy who makes childish dick jokes, because that's just my sense of humor, and am comfortable just being a chill dude. That's not who this Mathis was in 2011, though. Another intro, because I thought intros were the way to go. Please subscribe. We're trying to get polite at this point. I suggest watching with the lights off. Don't watch with the lights off. The only thing that's going to be horrifying is my voice and the frame rate of the video. Why is there just a black screen? Okay. Was it really necessary to have 10 seconds of nothing? Windows Movie Maker, man. I know you weren't using Premiere or even Sony Vegas yet. Windows Movie Maker. Just use Windows Movie Maker. It would have been, you could have cut out dead air. Okay, here we go.
Hello YouTube, this is Mathis, and today I have a treat for you. Yes, a treat. You are going to watch me as I teach you how to professionally, of course, piss your pants, scream like a woman, and run from anything that may possibly be dangerous to your person or being.
Okay, so like I know what I'm trying to do in that opening. Like, I don't remember saying that, but like, I'm trying to be satirical and funny and like wild and crazy. You know, I'm going to teach you not how to play this game professionally, but pee your pants professionally, scream like a woman professionally, and run away in fear professionally. Witty, Mathis. Fucking witty. Also, the audio balance is terrible. The game is so loud compared to my voice, and this is back when I was using my headset mic. God, it's already like unwatchable. It's unwatchable. No wonder I hit dislike on my own video. Like, it's unwatchable. It's bad.
This, why you may ask, is well, Mathis, why are you playing this game? Well, I enjoy shitting my britches. And
okay, we're skipping this. There's a part that I want to get to where I'm literally trying to be like PewDiePie. Look at, first of all, okay, the frame rate. Because my PC at the time couldn't handle running Amnesia and recording my audio and also recording the game, the frame rate's like in the teens or low 20s.
Press the right mouse to the door open or shut, depending on the direction.
Look at how terrible that frame rate is. That's like nauseating to me. How did I play the game like this? I was desperate, man.
I'm clicking right mouse.
My mouse at the time also was really old and not working properly.
Hey. Yes. Open. Get out of my way. Oh, so strong.
I'm trying to make witty things like I'm trying to make sound effects like I'm actually opening the door. And I still do that now, but it's not for the same reasons. Like, here, I was doing it to try and be funny. I was trying so hard to be funny, and that's the issue, I think. Now, if I make noises while I'm doing things, it's kind of natural. It's weird. It's weird because I'm so used to vocalizing everything that I do it. I kind of let what's happening in here freely flow out to here. Back then, that was just me trying to be funny and trying way too hard.
Okay, I get it. Open up my inventory.
I just want to find the part where I'm like throwing things.
Open a broom, huh? Okay, all right. Ugh. I press the right mouse to throw it. Okay, gotcha. Can I just... Yeah, get out of here. I don't need you anymore. Can I have that? No. Stupid. Door
Okay.
by itself. Might as well go inside.
So I'm listening to myself, and here's the thing: like, this is so boring. We're gonna get through this. We're not gonna get through this. We're gonna close it. The other thing I'm noticing as well is that I'm doing a lot of. The reason I'm doing that is because this is before even Project Zomboid. Keep that in mind. I'm so uncomfortable Let's Playing that I feel like any dead air is bad. There's a fine balance, right? And it depends on the game you're playing and what's going on in the game. But it's okay to let silence happen for a little while. But don't fill dead air for the sake of filling dead air. If you want to fill dead air when you're recording, don't just make fucking noises because you think it's funny. Say something. If the game is easy or you know what you're doing, talk about your day, talk about your life, talk about why you enjoy this game, or when you got this game, or what got you into this game, or a funny observation. Something that I just couldn't do back then is make weird observations, like naughty Mr. Miller in Kingdom Come Deliverance. That was just an observation I made and something that just kind of came off the top of my head. No way in hell I could have done that back then. Just something that simple. Or the voice actor from New Hampshire, which was another hilarious Kingdom Come thing. But back then I couldn't do that. Like I didn't have that processes, those kind of processes going on in here. So I was just like, walking in the room, but instead it was more like, okay, we're gonna open the door. Is there anything in here? Do I need a broom? Like, it's so hard to listen to this, but it's also important to realize how far I've come, even with just a speaking voice, how far I've come. So that's that. Let's do some live action stuff. So now we're going to go over to the Mathis Games channel. Stuff that I just like looking at myself, I guess, a little bit and seeing like how I looked structurally different. I've put on some weight since then. I have a beard. My hair's a lot longer. So this is back in March of 2013. So this is actually a big turning point for my channel. This is when my friend Dave, one of my best friends, ended up doing... ended up getting me, rather, a new microphone. So he got me this microphone that I've been using since 2013. It still works wonderfully. I was using this headset. I got this new thing, and we'll talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a quick video, and I think I'm actually recording in HD for once, which is strange because I usually don't.
So I look...
all the bags under my eyes,
man, this
all
is my old
like
apartment.
lame clothing. It's my day off today, so I am not doing anything that's going to be worth any effort. I'm going to scrub it out all day.
So days like this were so valuable to me because back when I was working in the restaurant industry and doing this before I quit and did this full time, the hours in which I could record were all over the place. I couldn't record when I wanted to because I could be working. So days like where I had a day off and I could just focus on doing work were amazing for me because I could relax. Like, this was my hobby, and it still is my hobby, but also a business now. But this was my hobby and only my hobby at the time. This is, you know, a drastically, you know, different thing for me. And it was interesting, and I enjoyed it a lot when I could scrub out and only wear a t-shirt. It was really, really nice. It's just interesting to look at this apartment because this is the very first apartment I ever lived in. The apartment was so small. This is my front door right behind me. If you go to my left or my right in the video, right behind me in the back corner was my kitchenette. Right there, the table you see behind me, that's the dining room area. And then immediately over here is a living room that's kind of small as a couch and a TV and a love seat. And then a door to the bedroom, and that's it. The bathroom's in the bedroom. That was it. It was like a 700 square foot apartment. It was tiny as hell, and it was expensive as hell because of how close we lived to Boston at the time.
But this video is for something in particular. It's a quick little video.
Also, the chin strap, man. I had that thing fucking forever. Oh god, it was so bad. I think I talk about it in my first reaction video, but the reason I have it is because I wanted to grow facial hair, but I worked in a restaurant that you couldn't grow facial hair unless you grew it when you were off from work, and I couldn't pop a beard at all at that point in time. So I had this chin strap because it made me feel like a man. You keep in mind, I am, let's see, in 2013, 5 years ago, I'm 26 years old here. Like I'm getting there to 30. Like I'm 25, 26. I wanted some facial hair to like not look like a child anymore. So
notice my sound quality now, right? Well, it's not the best.
I also am so very clearly uncomfortable in front of a camera. And I still struggle with the camera presence a bit, especially when I'm doing Judge Mathis stuff and I'm standing up. It's a very different experience. But I am so clearly uncomfortable looking at a camera. It just reeks off of me.
Why is it not the best? Because I'm using this thing. This awful piece of crap. Don't get me wrong, the sound quality up here is pretty good. This is not good. But guess what came in the mail today?
Good one. Make a sound effect. What came in the mail, Mathis? A microphone, a boy.
What does that mean for everybody? Well,
so this is also before I really knew how to, like, where to set this thing up, too.
Or listen, rather.
And this is what
I had to cut. I actually started doing a little editing here. I was probably using Vegas Pro at the time. You can see there's a quick cut. It's very impressive for 2013 Mathis.
With the new microphone. Hopefully you notice a difference. I mean, when I listened, I noticed
you can hear a difference. The mic's a little too far away. I need it a lot closer, and I will realize that later. But man, what a difference in quality this microphone made. And it made me so much more confident when recording because I didn't sound like I was coming through a freaking radio transceiver. This is really exciting for me. The big thing with this video, outside of the new microphone, it's kind of a nice memory, is just the sheer uncomfort that is that the right thing to say? The sheer, I don't want to say worry, but just not looking quite happy in front of the microphone or in front of the camera. And it's very, very obvious. And it's again here too. It's a little more obvious here. This is almost going into 2014 now. But this is like, I think 2,000 subscriber video or something. Man, my little chin strap was scraggly as hell. Let's swing back. Oh, yeah. Wow. Oof. Goo, God, what a voice is that?
2,000.
Oh, I'm still using this. This is actually earlier.
What? 2,000.
What is that? Like, what? Was I trying to be funny?
2,000. What? 2,000.
That face right there. When you nut and she just keeps sucking.
2,000.
Wait. I ruined it. When you nut and she just keeps sucking.
2,000.
There it is.
2,000 people. Wow. So I am.
What is that? That is like an infomercial thing. Wow.
2,000 people. Wow.
Wow. And if you call just today, friends, you'll get yourself a free Mathis Games video from 2012. What the hell is that wow? One more time.
What? 2,000. 2,000 people. Wow.
Wow. Wow, Jim. Can you believe the deal he's going to get on those videos? It's almost like he's getting them for free. Wow.
So I am making this video. No, I'm not going to be making it every 1,000 mark we hit, but I am going to do this one because 2,000 people, we went from 1 to 2K very, very quickly. And that's really awesome.
Cool.
Because we went.
Yeah, so this is I basically wanted to watch this video for the opening. This is me just being excited that we hit 2,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. So the last video I want to watch is one that I'm still very, very proud of to this day. So there was an indie game that came out called Antichamber, and it's a great puzzle game. I still suggest you play it today if you haven't. And this was when I was toying with the idea of what would eventually become Judge Mathis in 2016 or 2017. 2016. I think. Either way. Before I started doing a scripted series on the Mathis Games channel, I was still toying with scripted content. You can go all the way back and see I had a love for scripted content for a long, long time. And Antichamber was exciting to me because it was one of the very first games a dev gave to me to review, specifically to review. And so I remember getting it and being like, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to play the game and I'm going to review it. And I am going to write a good review and it's going to be good. And I edited it myself. No, Dean did not edit this. This is before I was working with Dean. I made this review and I was so proud of this review. And it's actually still, I'm proud of it today. But the reason this is important to me, this video at the very least, is important to me is because it was the beginnings of what Judge Mathis would eventually become. And while Judge Mathis is still evolving and I'm getting better at it and I'm tweaking things and I'm working on it so hard, it's good to go back and look at where he started. So let's listen to a little bit of Antichamber. This game is phenomenal. Play Antichamber. Seriously, if you haven't played it, play it. So I'm doing some like pre-review footage of just the game straight out, clearly, before I start talking. I wanted this to be such a super serious review, and it came out good.
When sitting down to write the review for Antichamber, I had a problem laid before me. At first I wanted to write it down immediately after playing. I wanted everything fresh in my mind for the review so that I could accurately portray the feelings I'd experienced while playing the game. On the other hand, I wanted time. I wanted a couple of days to sit back to comprehend and absorb everything that had just happened. On one hand, I had just played a maze game that had puzzles strewn about it. Getting to the end was the ultimate goal, and doing so was no easy feat. Hallways twist and turn on themselves, stairways that foreseeably led up brought you to a lower level, and floors will collapse with no warning, dropping you into a whole other area of the map. Images change depending on the angle you perceive them and what...
We're going to actually pause there for a second. I'm very red. Let's actually re-minimize that. So the reason I was listening, because there's a lot I'm recognizing just hearing myself speak. First, you can see a difference, or hear a difference rather, between 2013 Mathis and 2011 and 2012 Mathis. In just a year or two, I'm finding my speaking voice. It's still a ways to go before I've really found it. And it still changes even today. But you can tell there's a lot more confidence behind me in that voice. But the thing I'm most walking away from just hearing myself is the way I'm actually speaking and the way I'm writing. So I wrote a script. It was one of the very first scripts I ever wrote. It was for this review. And you have to understand, I initially went to school for two things: history and English, with a focus on creative writing. The one thing my friend Dave told me a long time ago, and it sticks with me to this day, is that writing on a paper and for a book or an essay or a paper for school is different than writing for something to be spoken out loud. At least if you're trying to come across as somebody who's speaking like a normal person. And I can tell that really hadn't sunk in. And I still struggle with it today. And I will always struggle with it, but it will cause me to improve. The way I'm speaking, or the way I wrote this script, wasn't really with the thought process of I'm going to read this out loud. I wrote the script as though I was writing a paper. And it was fun to write, but you can hear it. You can hear it in my speech and in the way I'm talking. It's all so proper and structured and using terms and words that I wouldn't use in everyday language or an everyday conversation. And if you listen to my Judge Mathis now, there's still elements of that, and I still struggle with that. But it's nowhere near like this, where I'm clearly sounding like I'm trying to write a thought-provoking piece. And there's room for that kind of script and video on the internet where you are writing an essay and just speaking the essay. But the way I wanted to review, in the way the reviews I enjoyed the most, were the ones who sounded like a person or a friend was sitting down to me and telling me why they loved the game in the most natural way they could. And that's what I strive to do even today. And the other thing is, too, I wasn't really keen on doing multiple takes at this point. I did everything in one take, maybe two if I fucked up really bad. But here at the end, you can hear me stutter. And instead of editing it out or cutting it or whatever, doing another take, I just leave it in. And it's because it's twofold, really. One, lazy. I wasn't good at editing. I didn't like editing at the time because it was still so new to me, and I didn't want to do it. Two, because I really wanted to get this video out as soon as possible. I wanted people to see it. I was so proud of what I had done. I wanted people to see it. But then, you know, I go back and I listen to this video now, and I think to myself, why did I leave that in? That was so easy for me to just fix. And I didn't fix it. Let's listen to it again.
The map. Images will collapse.
It's a weird pause that shouldn't be there.
Dropping you into a whole other area of the map. Images change depending on the...
I should have redone that whole sentence. Maybe both of them. What I should have done is realize there was an awkward pause either right when it happened or in editing. I don't know why I'm hiccuping. God damn it. Right when it happened, or right after I listened to it in editing, I should have went back and I should have redone the line. It's something I do a lot more now, especially with Judge Mathis. I'll record, and there are certain pits where I'll give like 5 takes if I need to, or 6 takes. And then if Dean listens to it and he says, "Can you redo this line? It doesn't sound right," I'll do it. Like, no questions asked. I want to get the best video out I possibly can.
The angle you perceived them in what seemed like an impossible gap in the floor was actually quite traversable given you were paying attention. The level
Yeah,
design...
see, like, that line is so up my own butt pretentious sounding. I could have rewritten that in such a different way that made it sound better overall, but I didn't. I was so used to writing in an intelligent fashion that it brings down my own natural charisma. I'm not saying I'm a charismatic person, but you do have to have at least an air of charisma about you to do this. And I'm weighing it down by writing in a way that doesn't feel natural to me. And throughout this review, if you want to go, you can search it and find it. If you want to listen to it, it happens a few times. I really recently listened to this video, and it was one of the reasons I wanted to do something like this.
Design is absolutely astounding, and whitewashed possible gap in the floor was actually quite traversable given you were paying attention. The level design is absolutely astounding, and whitewashed maze mixed with bright and colorful objects makes for a disorienting and beautiful place to explore.
That was okay.
But on the other hand, I had experienced something so much deeper, holding something with so much more substance. With each hallway presented, each puzzle shown, there lies a nearby picture of some sort.
Like that line there, I can think of like 5 ways I would reword that. Like,
with each hallway presented, each puzzle shown, there lies a...
I could say something like, and every hallway has a puzzle, and alongside that puzzle, a message. Simple, quick, and I can get the point across, instead of throwing in flowery language that is just unnecessary. Yeah, it's interesting. It's fun to go back, man. It's fun to go back. I think that's going to be it for today. There's so many videos I would like to go back, like my original top 10 list when I was working with a different editor. It took me a while to realize Dean and I just work wonderfully. Our humor syncs up perfectly, and the way we do things is the way I would always want to do things, edited, at least for the most part. But there was a stint for a year or so in 2012 or into 2013 where I had a different editor. Somebody who I think I met in the StarCraft scene, actually. And those videos are very, very different. And they're good. They're very good. But not because of me, but because of the editing. The way I speak and the way I do my scripts, though, did not mesh with his editing style. And that's why I love Dean. Dean does great editing that meshes perfectly with the way I write. Where this guy, who's an amazing editor, his style of editing does not mesh at all with the way I want to do things. And it's very clear. But we'll do that next time. I'm done for now. This has been going on for way longer than I planned on it, but it's been fun to talk. The last time was more funny. This time was much more critical and more get in my head as to what I was thinking and what I'm thinking now. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know. I'd love to do more stuff like this if you guys want more stuff like this. So just let me know by hitting the like or dropping a comment, subscribing if you want more things like that. If you're already subscribed, hit the bell because it's necessary. It's just a whole thing. But thank you guys. I love you guys so much. I wouldn't be able to do this without you. And it's amazing to see little pet projects like this, knowing that I would eventually do Judge Mathis and Lost Initiative and Roundtable Podcast and Chilluminati Podcast all in the future. I had no idea what was in store. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.